Well, what can I say? I would say there are no words, but I have to just bring up the proverbial elephant in the room, or at least in the season. So, of course, the Packers were defeated by the Vikings, but that's not the concern I have here. Of course, as we all saw, first quarter, a late hit, on a late tackle on Aaron Rodgers injured him. It believed to be a shoulder injury, and we got the word around midst of the third quarter that, as we feared, his right collarbone was broken. So his season's impacted. And of course, the news broke uh, Monday afternoon. This was quick. He didn't waste time. He decided he's going to go under the knife and repair it. So he's going to be out for the whole season. First off, regarding this injury, this is he, Rodgers is the third high-profile player to be severely injured in the past 2 weeks. Remember last week, we all remember last week, um, Odell Beckham Jr. and the loss to the Chargers, and then later that week, J.J. Watt in the Sunday night game during Kansas City, and of course this past Sunday it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, yeah, one of the best receivers in the league, the best defensive player in the league, and the best quarterback in the league, all out like that. Makes me wonder if this season is cursed or something. People are already worried. People are already worried about Tom Brady's safety now. We got nothing to worry about. As much as I don't like him, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's as healthy as a horse. Nothing's gonna hurt him. Nothing's gonna hurt him. Thank goodness. And and a lot of people are saying the NFC's well, at least the NFC is now wide open with Rodgers out. Many are saying the Packers season is kaput, and I myself am not going to jump to that conclusion. I like a lot of other Packer fans are just going to take it just 1 week at a time. Starting with this upcoming Sunday, we're at home against the Saints, a Saints team who racked up 52 points, so there's a good chance they may run out of points and not score anything, even against our defense. But and speaking of that, and speaking of that, now that Rodgers is out, I kind of hope that his many doubters in the media start to appreciate him more. Because if there is a large chance that our season is just squash, and because of that one injury. Think about it. Think about it. Rodgers had to deal with a lot in his career. He had to deal with um, a bad offensive line, a bad defense. Sometimes those receivers would drop those easy passes he threw. But but um but he would still win games. But people refused to see the problems he had, and when we lost, they blamed him. You know, they would make that they would state all that other stuff, but it was other quarterbacks. Well, yeah, well the defense failed him. But when the Packers lost, oh, Rodgers didn't perform well. Maybe if this season goes to pot somehow, maybe now they'll see what Rodgers had to work with, and realize, these losses weren't his fault. Look what he had around him. He led the team. But like I said, I myself am not throwing in the towel. Some Packers fans are. Others are just worried. Some are taking it 1 week at a time, like I am. Me, I'm not ready. I'm not going to throw in the towel because as a great man once said, the late great Yogi Berra, and of course Lenny Kravitz sang it. Lenny Kravitz sang himself one of my favorite songs, "Baby, it ain't over till it's over." So there's 10 games left, and it's a first place tie. Who knows what can happen? Now, 4 years ago, and I'm going to say this a little bit and move on to the rest of the week. Of course, 4 years ago, this is similar to 4 years ago. Rodgers got hurt and banged up, broke his collarbone, and he was out for a couple weeks. Returned in the end of the final week in that memorable game against the Bears, and we ended up winning the division, making the postseason. But there's two glaring differences. Number one, that and 4 years ago it was his left side. this week, it was his right side. That's his throwing side, number one. Number two, the division was shit. It was. I mean, the Lions had a great chance. The Lions had the division handed to them a silver platter in 2013, and they messed it up. The Vikings sucked. The Bears, the Bears moved up to do the Detroit misfortunes, but they lost the end. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. How about Pittsburgh? Maybe that's another quarterback. That's another quarterback that gets unfairly maligned a lot. Every time Pittsburgh loses, they blame Ben, even though most of the losses are his fault. Well, I'll say this: the loss to Jacksonville, that was all. I mean, 5 interceptions. Come on. Though Brown caused one of them, but yeah, people pick on Ben Roethlisberger too. They blame him for everything, even though he's won 2 rings and nearly had a third. They mess with him too. They say, well, the Steelers aren't going anywhere. Big Ben's done. But what happened? All he did was waltz into undefeated Kansas City and beat them. Remember, these are the same Chiefs, mind you, who waltzed into Foxborough on opening week and beat them. Just messed them up. Brady, who they put on a pedestal for God knows why, he couldn't beat Kansas City at home. Pittsburgh went to Kansas City and just beat up the Chiefs. Once again, proving what I've said for a long time: Ben's better than Brady. Big Ben's better than Brady. Pittsburgh is the team in the AFC. If you didn't have any proof before, if you didn't have any proof already, there it was. I mean, what more do you need? The AFC, it's over. It's over the AFC. Just hand the conference to Pittsburgh. The rest of it is terrible. I mean, New England, well, they finally got to first place, but they're falling off. The Raiders and the Broncos, to borrow a line from the late great Dennis Green, aren't who we thought they were. The Chiefs are going to be in it, but they're not as good as Pittsburgh. Come on. And everybody in the AFC South sucks. The whole division is terrible. It's cluttered and it's mediocre. There's a first place tie in that division because Tennessee won the Monday night game. There's a first place tie at 3-3. Indianapolis is knocking the door at 2-4. So, yeah, who in the AFC is going to beat up? Who in the AFC is going to beat out Pittsburgh? Who? Not New England, not Oakland, not Denver. Don't get me started on Denver, because they somehow let the most dilapidated Giants team I've ever seen walk into Mile High and mess them up. It's ridiculous. I mean, and the thing is, the Giants, they led the whole game. These are the same Giants who a week ago let the Chargers beat them. The Chargers beat them. But they waltzed right to Denver, who blew out Dallas in week 2, and they just owned them, beat them like they owed them money or something. And Trevor Siemian, he was a mess, throwing 2 interceptions, one that was returned, and I thought that was why we saw the returning, conquering hero of Mile High, Brock Osweiler, back in the game. But Brock was in there because Siemian was banged up a little bit. But still, this whole season's been insane. A bit cursed. Like I said, the three of the best players in the league are out. Winless teams beating teams we never thought they would beat. So is there hope for Cleveland or San Francisco, who are the only winless teams left? All signs point to no. But San Francisco plays Dallas. Now we don't know if Zeke's. Unfortunately, there's still no confirmation on if Zeke's going to play or not, because the league already officially ruled that his 6-game suspension can't be blocked anymore. So one would have to assume that it would start this upcoming week. I mean, they can afford to play without him. They played the 49ers. They could afford to be without him, Dak, and Dez, and still they beat up the Niners. But who knows? But would it be something if the 49ers beat Dallas? Anything's possible this season, as I've seen. And of course, there's the Falcons. boy, do they suck. I mean, how bad you had to be. They blew another lead. They learned nothing from February. They blew another lead, and they let the Jay Cutler Dolphins come back on. Are you kidding me? Though, like I said, anything's possible. The rematch is this upcoming Sunday. It's in Foxborough. Would it be something if Atlanta walks into Foxborough and gets their revenge and beats them? Seattle did it last year. Last year, when the Seahawks and Patriots played in Foxborough, it was the first time they played each other since Russell Wilson single-handedly fucked up the Super Bowl. But but they lost to Foxborough and beat them, which again proves that Brady isn't going to be anybody could beat Seattle. But yeah. So that's my long recap of Week 6. I'm sorry, I do apologize for the length, but a lot had to be said. Week 7. I believe that's Week 7 already. Week 7 begins tomorrow. Raiders and Chiefs. Packers, the first Brett Hundley's first start. We're at home against the Saints. Sunday night game is the long anticipated rematch, Falcons Patriots. And what's the Monday night game? Monday night game. Oh yeah, the Monday night game is an NFC East battle. I was looking at my phone. The Monday for the app. Monday night game is an NFC East battle, Washington Philly. So that's my recap of Week 6. I'll recap Week 7 a little earlier than usual, and whatever the baseball's LCS ends, I'll review that too. As far as baseball at the moment, the NLCS could end tonight. I mean, Dodgers are 3-0, but there's going to be 2 more games at least in the ALCS. It's 2-2, as Chuck Woolery often says on his game shows, as the Yankees are coming back. So until next week, enjoy the rest of the season.